Just about all the things you could want in one adventure ride is in this video, and a few things that you really wouldn't.
The most haunted former bothy in Scotland.
And then when they tried lighting a candle, it flew across the room.
A couple of river crossings. A poem found in a bothy where it was written. An historic hostel.
When did you first come in?
Oh, what was a boy?
That counted a stag as one of its guests. A luxurious train ride. A bike shop.
It's actually not too bad, isn't it?
And a military road from the 18th century used by tens of thousands of people today.
Yep, all that really does lie ahead.
We're gonna have some fun, so please subscribe and hit that notification bell, and we'll head off to Scotland's most haunted bothy.
It's a lot colder here, with all the cold air coming down off the mountains than it was at home. Keen to get going.
The remains of Kinlochleven's industrial heritage in aluminium production are clear. The hydro plant still runs, while the smelter is now an indoor ice and rock climbing centre. Tourism, especially the West Highland Way, is big business here. I'm ignoring the Walker's Way out in favour of the old tarmac road up to the Corrour Lodge.
This really is quite a steep climb. It's also part of a much longer ride that I'm going to be undertaking in the next couple of days. Takes a little bit of explaining, so here goes.
This 2-day ride is a recce for a summer 1-day ride. In summer I hope to cycle from Fort William to the remote railway station of Corrour and then come back on the train, but that is too long for these short winter days, so I'm splitting it. I'm starting in Kinlochleven to cycle to Corrour, where I'll stay in a historic youth hostel. Tomorrow I'll catch the train to Fort William and ride back to Kinlochleven, where I just began. Or at least that's the plan.
If you fancy a laugh, open up TripAdvisor and look up Corrour Lodge Hotel, because that's it. It's been bought and sold, but it's been like that for quite a while. Hopefully you can see where we're headed, the point over there. Faint track up the hillside. That's the climb continuing.
We can come back, but the time is gone. I'm round into escape from your life. Don't lie, cause I know your heart. Then try looking for someone to forget.
This area is absolutely no stranger to bikes, runners and outdoor people in general. There's been enduro events here. This is the way up. There's a skyline trail and a 10k race runs around the loch we're going to. And of course there's the Highland Trail 550, and that is the route I'll be following today. But normally that is ridden in summer, and doing it in winter presents, well, a rather specific challenge. That means I'm not sure which route I'm going to be able to take.
Because here there is a 4-mile hiker bike. The clearer path is on the north riverbank, the Highland Trail 550 in purple. But I won't know until I get here whether or not I can cross the river to reach it. Incidentally, Minach is one of 2 bothies on the route. If I can't cross the river, the south bank is very boggy and slow going. That river crossing decision looms ahead.
Don't lie, cause I know your heart. Then try looking for someone to forget.
This is Loch Eldimore, the big Loch of the Hinds. Next one down is the small Loch of the Hinds, Loch Elde, Beg, More and Beg, big and small. And it was dammed during the First World War to provide power for the aluminium works down there at Kinlochleven.
We can come back, but the time is gone.
And I have to say, preying on my mind somewhat is this river crossing and how slow it is going to be the other side of that. So I'm really going to have to crack on. 2 hours have gone and I've not made that much progress. Time is never really on your side in winter. I'm nearly at the river crossing now. Oh, hey, hang on, concentrate, Simon. I'm nearly at the river crossing now, but before that I have to get to what is quite possibly the most haunted building in all of Scotland.
Or at least the most haunted former bothy. This ruin is Louis built.
Back in 1973, this was a bothy. And the story goes that two lads had arrived. Things were a little bit spooky, things were a bit odd, but they went out and did some climbing. And the odd thing started that night when they were trying to get to sleep. Put the light out, immediately sounded like a lot of people downstairs. And then when they tried lighting a candle, it flew across the room, and loads of other odd things. And it's been the subject of a Radio 4 programme, Into the Uncanny. I'll put a link to it in the video description, if I can find it.
Nonsense, of course, but something took control of my drone and crashed it into a tree.
Obviously that was the poltergeist did that. They don't like being filmed. Right, river crossing. It's always tempting to look for the narrowest place to cross. You see that, for example, looks like I could get all the way out to there and be completely dry. But this section here is really fast because that's the only place where the water can flow. Right, well, I've taken about 20 minutes to work out where I'm going to cross. You can see how far I've walked downstream. And I like this because there's an angle of shingle. And that to me looks like the shallowest bit. It's also the widest part of the river. You can imagine this is a spate. My goodness, all of this. It would be a very difficult cross. Okay, getting to the deeper section now. It's actually not that deep, I'm pleased to say. Try and keep the bike downstream if you can use it to lean on. If it's upstream, it might knock you over if the flow's that much stronger. Bag up everything. Everything I've got is in 2 waterproof bags, from my drone to my phone to my food. If you think there's a chance of going in, take off as many clothes as you can. I would have taken off my waterproof socks, because waterproof socks that fill with water are worse than no socks at all, because you're riding around in 2 bags of water.
And so begins the hiker bike. This is the route of the original Highland Trail 550, so it's doable, but hard. I managed a very few short sections in the saddle. Mostly it was pushing and carrying, until on the other riverbank, across some sloping stepping stones, I spotted Steinegg bothy.
It'll do. Gonna push. What's this book? Ian Corrour walked these moors every summer for many years. This poem survives him and has made its way back to where it was written. Please feel free to take one. The Highland Burn, written in August 1990. In the heather by a Highland burn,
breathing the peace we strive to earn, water trickles in the quietude, lonely wind stirs the solitude. Time stands still for the sensation, murmuring voices haunt the moor. Water's whispered conversation, spirits howl when the wind is raw. Ice blue Loch stares vacant at the skies. Only a ripple as brown trout rise, black corries that never see the sun, crevice, granite, rocks, white waters run. Purple hills reach to a cloudy sky. Lay me to my rest here when I die. When the light has failed for all of us, these hills will stand when our bones are dust. The same sweet music of the falling burn calls our carefree spirits to return.
Thanks, Cameron.
That was an hour and 45 of pushing since that haunted bothy. I think I can ride from now on in. That is the magnificent Loch Treig, and it really is a lonely loch because there are no roads up either side, no footpaths either. The only thing there is the West Highland railway line, and that's high above the loch.
I find it mind-boggling that in the 1930s, from this loch, 2,000 men blasted tunnels 16 miles through mountains to carry 860 million gallons of water daily to the aluminium works at the base of Ben Nevis.
I don't know if it was the water or the mud, but the E-tap gears are not enjoying it. They're changing and shifting by themselves. Over there, you can just about see Corrour station, which is where I'm getting the ride back from tomorrow, which I'll tell you more about tomorrow.
This is Loch Ossian Eco Hostel, the second Scottish youth hostel, opened in May 1931, part of Scottish history and currently run by Jan, who's been here more than a decade.
This is your dorm.
Right.
Just take whichever bed. There's just you and Alessandra. So just take whichever bed you fancy.
Well, that was a very warm welcome. I've already been offered a beer. So, never been in this one. Looks a lovely little place.
To which people like Alec keep coming back.
When did you first come here?
Oh, when I was a boy. Yeah. Way back when it was the old-fashioned.
Before it was extended.
Before it was like this, yeah.
Reading the history, I learnt the previous warden, Tom Rigg, had stayed 25 years and adopted a pet stag that had to tilt his head sideways so his antlers could pass through the doorframe. This is quite a place.
I didn't really take time to appreciate it last night, but my goodness me, what a spot. It's quite a bleak panorama this morning with the mist down. We've got a bit of high pressure, and in winter that often means fog. But there we go, Corrour station coming into view. With the mist down, you might not recognise it, but this was in a very famous film. This one. That doesn't look much, but this is the famous little wooden bridge where Ewan McGregor delivered this line.
It's shite being Scottish!
Nah.
We're the lowest of the low! The scum of the fucking earth!
Yeah, that's a bit harsh.
Most wretched, miserable, servile, pathetic trash that was ever shot into civilization!
Ewan, you know they had to replace this bridge recently because of all the English visitors.
Some people hate the English, I don't! They're just wankers!
Yeah, not Geordie, sure.
We, on the other hand, are colonised by wankers! Can't even find a decent culture to be colonised by!
Anyway, probably the second most famous bit of Trainspotting.
This is the Caledonia Sleeper from London Euston, and all I have is a ticket and a bike reservation number.
Hope you're expecting me? Yes. Good.
I'm not sure you get a mountain bike tyre in that holder. But the new carriages, these are the sleeping seats, are very smart. We pass Loch again, and the journey to Fort William takes only an hour. My gears were still misfiring, so first stop was Nevis Cycles, where Neil spotted the bent hanger that I'd missed.
It's actually not too bad,
isn't it?
But it's enough to cause a bit of an issue, especially when you've got smaller space.
I always carry a spare hanger, but Neil managed to bend this one back into shape. 20 minutes after getting off the train, I was back riding in the rain.
There are two ways I can get back to Kinlochleven. I can either go down the A82, or I intended all along over the top into quite thick, claggy weather. West Highland Way. Oh, I'm gonna have to get off and push this bit.
Many people know about the roads built by General Wade, but Major William Caulfield actually built 3 times as many roads, some 800 miles in the 1730s. This was one of them, and is now used by more than 30,000 West Highland Way walkers every year, hopefully in better weather. And it's a good time to say thank you to members of this channel, people who like my videos and are giving a little extra support. To find out more, click the join button below any video on desktop.
So bookmark this or make a copy of the commute route, because this would make a great spring ride. And look where we are, back at the Moors Lodge Hotel. You just got to go down the road. So if you've enjoyed this, may I suggest you look in the video description, click on the commute link and then save that to your commute, so you've got a copy of the GPS files, but try and pick a nicer day to do the ride.
And that's where the video was going to end. I plan to make another video looking behind the scenes of this shoot and going through the kit that I used. But then I thought, you know what, I think I'll combine the two, so I did.
And in this video, I'm going to go through the kit I carried and why. Okay, great stuff.
The first moment I had to go through the kit was on the train back to Fort William, but I'll intercut that with other bits from the ride itself. So let's go through the kit that I took on a trip like this. In my top of my rucksack, I have things I might need handy. I've got a spare pair of glasses, but that's just from this morning. They were buried. Bike light, gloves, and a phone case cover to waterproof it. Now this is the stuff you probably won't have. I've got the drone in there, I've got the drone controller, spare batteries are in that one, again in a bag. And I should say all of this is in a rucksack liner that is waterproof. The DJI Mini 3 Pro drone has a system which allows it to follow me, and that has made a huge difference to my solo filming. The controller does need to be out while it's in the air. I've tried mounting it on the handlebars, but on this ride I discovered it works just as well stuffed down my jersey front. But filming myself, whether it's repeatedly going back to pick up the camera or getting out the drone, is a very slow process and took up 3 hours in this 7-hour ride.
I reckon it adds 20 minutes every time you see a series of drone shots. Because all this stuff has to come out, get put away, I have to ride, then I stop, take it all out again, put it all away. The drone's in its case, I've got to put the controller away yet, the phone, got to change a case for that. I'm not saying poor me or anything, because I like flying the drone, but yeah, this is where the time goes.
Pump. Ooh, crikey. Big pump. Don't be messing around out there in the cold with diddy pumps. Hot drink in a Life Venture thermal cup with a lid that seals, like a little mini flask.
I don't know if I'll put this in because I don't want to be lecturing you, but I'll try and sum this up quickly. Don't go for the narrowest spot, usually the water's running fastest there. Look for places, especially like on a diagonal, where you've got a line of shingle that you can use almost as stepping stones. Try and keep the bike downstream if you can use it to lean on, so it doesn't, if it's upstream it might knock you over if the flow is that much stronger. If it's such that it's going to get swept away, it has to go on your shoulder, but in which case you're going to maybe need a stick or something for a little bit of support. But spend time looking to find the right place to cross. I mean, this is obvious to me that this is the best place to cross when you can see how wide the river would normally be at this point, and it's so far down. I think today I've been very fortunate. In snowmelt, that would be a very different kettle of fish. Bag up everything. Everything I've got is in 2 waterproof bags. If you think there's a chance of going in, take off as many clothes as you can. I would have taken off my waterproof socks, because waterproof socks that fill with water are worse than no socks at all, because you're riding around in 2 bags of water. So try and think of what the worst could be, prepare for it so you're ready on the other side. Oh, and I nearly forgot. If you're wearing a big rucksack, make sure you have the straps undone, chest and waist. So if you did fall in, it doesn't drag you down.
This is my first aid kit, and in here I have my personal locator beacon, so that will send a satellite signal if I have a problem. Because in most of this journey, absolutely no cell phone coverage. Toiletries, which reminds me, I need to go and brush my teeth. This got a little bit messed up with putting stuff in and out overnight, but I've got a spare hat, another snood, and waterproof socks, a battery pack. I would put my phone into there for the river crossings, and I have an emergency plasticized foil bivy bag. In addition to this, in the sack that's on the front of my bike, the Apiduro one, I've got a bothy bag, which is an all-over one-piece shelter, and I've got a change of warm clothes, tights, top, socks, and another warm jacket, just in case I need that. And I changed into all that last night and let this stuff dry out.
While we're talking kit, let's do some good and bad. Good, these gloves by Galibia. They are called Ardennes, I think. They're not waterproof, but they are absolutely excellent for these sort of conditions. Bad, unfortunately, Lake shoes. I've had a go at them before, but I bought 2 pair of their gravel shoes, and the other pair, within 6 months, the sole just peeling off, so they're going back to Sigma Sports for a warranty return. These, the heel just came away completely, and I thought, well, I can get them repaired surely. So I sent them to I sent photographs to a specialist repairer. They said, get us a heel, we can do it. Lake's attitude, even though the uppers are completely fine, leather, just throw them away. No, we can't let you have a sole. No, I can't do that, sorry. So a completely functional pair of shoes that I've done this ride in, I'm meant to throw away because the heel's gone. I do have very bad grip. And I just think that's bad. So I'm sorry, Lake, I do like your road shoes, but I won't be buying any more from you if that's your attitude to kit.
If I thought there was more riding on this, I wouldn't have probably brought a rucksack, although I tend to need something like that, like usually my smaller pack, just to carry the drone, because you don't want to be undoing the thing every time to get a drone out, and spare batteries. Each of the pockets of the rucksack, the waist pockets, they were full of energy bars. I almost forgot because I haven't used it. I printed off and laminated a section of Ordnance Survey map covering the whole route and a little bit beyond it as well. If you want to know how to get these maps for free, look at this video. It'll explain how to screenshot Bing Maps and then print out the section that you need. But essentially it's OS maps or sections of for free. Finally, I've got one of these multi-charging cables that stick one end into a USB feed, and then you've got splits between USB 3s, USB 2s, and a couple of iPhone chargers if need be. And I've been charging them using that plug on the train. We here? No, somewhere else. So that's inside the rucksack and behind the scenes. Please try one of these videos next. There should be one you enjoy. Subscribe please, hit the notifications and give me a thumbs up. That way, I'll see you again next time. Goodbye.